I'm here with Gareth Burns, who's the Senior Vice President of Exploration Strategy and Business Development for Statoil. Gareth, thanks for joining us. It's a fact, is it not, that Statoil discovered more oil in 2013, more oil and gas, than any other company in the world. I wondered if you could maybe walk us through some of the highlights, if it's possible to do that.
Thank you, Drake. It has been a very exciting year for us in Statoil, and for the third year in a row we're on track for delivering more than 1 billion barrels of resources. I think what's been particularly exciting about the last few years is that we have made oil and gas discoveries in a range of different locations, from Norway to Brazil to Canada and to East Africa, and all in all it's been there's a lot of resources we found, and we hope there'll be more to come in the future.
You say a range of plays. Statoil is involved in everything, aren't they? They do pre-salt, they do deep water, they do onshore conventional, oil sands, shale play even. Is it possible to look at that portfolio and identify any highlights, any kind of priorities for future development? Do you have a focus area, or are you doing everything at once?
Back in 2009 we adjusted our exploration strategy, and we're focusing on high impact wells to create high impact discoveries and exploiting our core positions. And I think what you've seen over the last sort of 18 months, sort of 2 to 3 years, we have discovered in our core areas, or our emerging core areas, and I think that's something that you will see us continue to do, to focus on the areas where we've made impact discoveries, following up on that success, but also looking for sort of new prospects that can deliver material value to Statoil.
So to be specific, what kinds of areas are we talking about? In the next 5 years, what are the priorities for Statoil?
Well, I think if you look at some of the key discoveries that we've made in East Africa, specifically in Tanzania, that will continue to be an area that we will focus on in the years to come. We've also made a very significant discovery in East Coast Canada, the Bay du Nord, and there's a lot of potential there which we intend to follow up on. And similarly, back in our heartland of Norway, in the Barents Sea, we've opened up a new region that there's a number of discoveries have been made now, and I certainly think that you can see from the most recent 22nd round that a lot of the industry has come into that as well, and those will be areas that we will be pursuing. And in addition, Angola, we'll be drilling a number of wells there over the course of the next 2 years that will test the pre-salt play that you mentioned, where we do believe there is the potential in Angola similar to what has already been found in Brazil.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, Statoil obviously involved in one of the biggest development fields in the world in pre-salt in Brazil, offshore. And you've got these blocks in Angola, which is supposed to test the analogy that's supposed to exist between the two continents. How much do you think the industry as a whole has done to prove that thesis? A lot of dry wells have been drilled, there's been a lot of potential. How far along the way are we to finding pre-salt maybe in Africa?
I think it's still early days, but the next 2 years are going to be an important 2 years for that. There have been a number of discoveries have been made by a range of different industry players, and I know in Statoil's case we will be participating in 8 wells in the Angolan pre-salt. That through that portfolio will go a good way to proving up the potential in the pre-salt in Angola.
Let's talk about shale now. Obviously, a big player in North America as well. It's Statoil. How important is shale in your strategy, in your growth of your portfolio, and do you see that taking off in other parts of the world also?
I think, as was mentioned in the last session we were in, sort of unconventional or shale opportunities in the rest of the world is still unproven. North America is an important part for Statoil. We have a position in the Marcellus, in the Eagle Ford and the Bakken, and that will continue to produce and be an important contributor to our company production out to 2020. In terms of what has been done elsewhere, I think there's still a lot of testing has to be done. We have sort of a few smaller positions elsewhere in the world, and I think we just need to allow the time to test those, and then we'll see how we can commercialise the discoveries that hopefully will be made.
I mentioned at the beginning that Statoil had the most successful exploration record out of any company in 2013. That's actually something that's been more or less true in the last 5 years, has it not? And I wondered, what was the secret behind Statoil? Do you spend more money on exploration, or are you just smarter than the average bear?
I think when you look at the industry comparisons, we do potentially punch above our weight in terms of our exploration spend, but we are not the largest exploration spender. I think the key element to our success over the last few years is we have set out our strategy and stuck to that consistently, and that's drilling high impact wells, getting early access at scale, and then exploiting our core positions.
Looking forward to the next 12, 24 months, what are the next high impact wells to watch out for from Statoil?
I think there's a few areas I would highlight. Angola in the Presalt, we're going to be participating in a total of 8 wells, both operated and non-operated. We've also recently participated in a play opening well in the Barents Sea, and we've further exploration drilling around those. And we'll also have further exploration wells in East Coast Canada following up on the success we've had there. And we've also got some exciting wells in the Gulf of Mexico.
One thing I'm asking everybody, what were the lessons of 2013 that you learned, in your opinion, that you're going to take forward into your 2014 business planning?
I think one of the key lessons we've learned is that of sort of portfolio prioritization and the need for continual prioritization. As every well is drilled, that gives us more information, and we have to revisit our plans to see how do we need to adjust those in light of what we've learned. And that continual high grading of the portfolio is something that we have benefited from and has helped in our success. And I think that is probably the greatest learning that I would take to the years ahead.